big subject, how to control the mind. So in the book called The Nectar of Instruction, first mantra says, you can repeat after me. Vachavegam Manasa Prodavegam Jivavegam Vidarapastavegam Ekan Vegam Yog Shate Sura Dhira Sarvam Atiman Usidin Tastishat. So this is Sanskrit, and the English translation following most of the me. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind demand, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Okay. This is a verse for gurus. These are prerequisites for a guru. What are they? They have to tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals. Then someone is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So, I'm just going to read a few points here. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Sukadev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for stealing, and he may actually even see a thief arrested by the police. Yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing. One who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law book of Shastra, scripture, that stealing is not good, and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, they refrain from theft. A lesson person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing, and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? Thus Parikshit Maharaj inquired. He compared atonement to an elephant's bath, of elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in the river, but as soon as he comes out onto the bank of the river, he throws dirt all over his body. What then is the value of its bath, or of its bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Balad Yasya Hi Apabuddhi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha. Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sin. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. This type of prayaschita, or atonement, is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Sukadeva Goswami, equally intelligent, as befitting the spiritual master of Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A simple activity cannot be counteracted by a pious. Thus, real prayaschita, or atonement, is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness. Now, that's a very profound statement. That is, that a sinful activity cannot be counteracted by pious. Most people think that's the way you get rid of sinful activity performed by pious. So you see, like even uh, uh, you know, the thieves, they commit a sinful activity and they try to cover it up by doing some pious act. But that doesn't work. Okay, now we're going to hear what actually works. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge. And for this, there is a standard process. When one follows a regulated hygienic method, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original consciousness. Such a methodical life is described as tapasya. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy or brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions and charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yoga asana. However, if one is fortunate enough to get the association, we can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process simply by following the regular principles of Krishna consciousness. What are they? 1, refraining from illicit sex. 2, refraining from meat eating. 3, giving up intoxication. 4, giving up gambling. And by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual man. This easy process is being recommended by Srila Bhakti. So there is an easy process for becoming liberated from all sinful activity. What is that? That is to have a bona fide spiritual master that gives you the example of how to control the mind and senses and regularly hear shastras spoken by genuine devotees and also asking questions. You never learn by remaining silent. You can only learn by asking questions. If you remain silent, you'll never hear any answer, and therefore you'll never learn anything. So those persons who are enthusiastic about learning, they ask many questions, and they get the proper answers. Now, if you ask no questions, how are you going to get the proper answer? So it's important to learn to ask questions. No questions, no answers. But if you ask questions, you'll get answers. And believe me, there's many things that we don't know. And therefore, we should ask questions. Then we will learn if you ask the right person. So here it continues. It says, first, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity to begin to speak, if we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all sorts of nonsense. A toad, meaning like a type of what do you call it? Yes. A toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake. Please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers, they are always speaking nonsense, thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence. The external process of mona, as Mayavadi philosophers think. Silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. The meaning of controlled speech conveyed by Srila Rupa Goswami advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process in glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. In other words, if you speak and talk nonsense, you're going to get caught by the croaking, just like the croaking of what you call a frog. Right, frog is the word, yeah. But if you speak about Krishna, now you are directly associating with Krishna because Krishna and his name as non-different. For example, Coca-Cola, you can go on chanting Coca-Cola the rest of your life, you'll never taste Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, 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 you'll never get to taste. But if you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, Krishna will be with you right away. That's the best way to associate with God, simply by chanting the names of God. So when you chant Krishna's names sincerely, Krishna takes a special interest in you. Just like yourself. If you hear that there's someone in Seattle always speaking very nicely about you, would you want to know who that person is? Would you want to know that person? About you? Yeah. So Krishna is God, the Supreme Personality of God. He's in your heart. If he hears you always speaking nicely about him, he takes an interest in you. But if you just speak nonsense all the time, what's the stock market today? Like, for example, I had an uncle, he was always investing in the stock market. Whenever the stock market went up, he would invite me to have some candy. Whenever the stock market went down, he'd say, don't bother me right now. So I could know what the stock market was doing just by seeing the consciousness of my uncle. So is that a way of life? One day up, one day down. Another day up, another day down. That's not life. If you chant Hare Krishna, you always go up every day, up into the spiritual realm or Vaikuntha. That should be our goal. We should. You can make Vaikuntha in this world. How is that? By always chanting Hare Krishna and hearing about Krishna and engaging in Krishna conscious activities. Now you're in Vaikuntha even on this world. Vaikuntha is a place where there's no anxiety. Vaikuntha means a place where there's no anxiety. A lot of people in this world have anxiety. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. Now you have the panacea, the ultimate, let's say, healing substance. That ultimate healing substance for anxiety is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Krishna and his name are non-different. That's because Krishna is spiritual and his name is spiritual. Spiritual means something that's eternal and can never be, let's say, destroyed. So if we always chant Hare Krishna, we are with Krishna. And Krishna, by hearing you chant nicely, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, takes a special interest in you because you're chanting his name with love and devotion. That is the key to opening up the spiritual world in your life. Chanting the name of God with love and devotion. A prayer is not, please give me this, please give me that. My son is taking an SAT test, but he passed the test. My wife has a backache, take care of that also. That's not spiritual life. Spiritual life is not gimme, 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 gimme. Real spiritual life is take me, take me, take me, take me, take me, take me, take me. Right? Completely surrendering to the Lord and engaging in the service to the Lord by chanting His holy name, by cooking nice food, vegetarian food stuff with no garlic and onion, and offering it to Krishna. Just like you have Mother Yasoda here in Krishna, you can make offerings on your altar, and Krishna will offer it back as his prasad. You don't just cook something and eat, then it's not prasadam. Prasadam is a special supernatural product that's produced by the sincere prayers of a devotee. And if they're sincere prayers and you make a sincere offering to Krishna, Krishna will offer it back to you as his prasad or his mercy. It's like a mother who's pregnant. If she eats only prasadam, her child will be made of prasadam. See, that's a good thing, isn't it? And if you eat only prasadam, eventually you get rid of all the nonsense, and your body also becomes prasad. So we should always be seeking prasad. And it's very easy. Simply cook vegetarian food with no garlic and onion. Learn a few prayers, how to offer. We have a $1 booklet that teaches you how to make sincere offerings to Krishna. You can get it at the temple. In fact, I should start bringing them with me. Yeah. I'm going to talk about it goes in the ear and comes out the other.
Yeah, this is exactly home program.
Yeah. So from now on, we'll get a whole bunch of this. It only costs $1. And then you learn how to make these offerings to Krishna. Then your life is perfect because you took an interest in Krishna, Krishna takes an interest in you. If Krishna takes an interest in you, you have no problems anymore. Now, that sounds, I don't know, maybe you might say, how does he know that? From experience. I'm older than all of you, right? Right. Is anybody here older than 78? No. Okay, I'm old. So you have to listen to what I say there. I have the experience. I was at one time, I was not born in the Hare Krishna family. I was born in a meat-eating family. You know, when I was 16, if you told me you should become a vegetarian, I would just start laughing hysterically. I'd say this is nonsense. But when I came in contact with devotees, I learned, wait a minute, you shouldn't eat meat because they're killing cows to give you that meat, cows or pigs or whatever. We should have a clean vegetarian food. That means minus cows and lasan. There are some Hindus who they're vegetarians, but they can't eat without cows and lasan. But no, that also why should we not eat cows and lasan? Garlic and onion. Because in this world there are three, let's say, natural forces. They are goodness, passion, and ignorance. So ignorance is what you would call, goodness is in the mode of sattva or sattvic, goodness. And passion, rajas, is passionate. So when you put extra garlic or extra onion, that's very passionate, right? And then ignorance, ignorance is eating putrid things, things that are You can buy pickles that have been in a jar for like 2 years, and you eat those pickles, right? So that's in the mode of ignorance. We have to learn to always be sattvic in life. Always eat clean things that, such as uh, vegetables. Now, some people say, well, wait a minute, garlic is a vegetable. Yes, but it's in the mode of ignorance. So you have to learn which natural foods are in the mode of ignorance, and which foods that are made to be in the mode of ignorance, like putting in garlic and onion and other things like that. So if we have a sattvic life, what you eat determines who you are. And if you eat only sattvic food, if you live a life where you give up all bad habits, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, now you're living a sattvic life or a life of goodness. Now, on top of that, activity in Krishna consciousness, now it becomes transcendental goodness. There's mundane goodness and there's transcendental goodness. Transcendental goodness means that you recognize the supreme, or let's say, personality of Godhead, Krishna, and you understand that Krishna is God, and He is waiting for you to come back to Him because we were all originally with Him. Our original Father is Krishna, but because we have limited free will, our limited free will is limited to two choices: either surrender to Krishna or surrender to Maya. Those are the only two choices we have in life. So if we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna promised, Konteya Pratijani, Nami Bhakta Panashyati, declared loudly, Arjuna, that my devotee will never perish. So it's promising that if you become the devotee of the Lord, you have no problems. He will protect you, he'll give you the right knowledge, will help you to make the right decisions. And in this way, you have a very peaceful and happy life, and you can help other people also. But if you become poisoned by modern education, why do I say that? Modern education. Because modern education is based on atheistic humanism. Does anybody know what that means? Atheistic humanism. Okay, you should learn what it means. The humanistic philosophy, if you look it up on your cell phone right now, let's learn this. Nobody else is going to talk to you like this. Have you ever heard about this? Atheistic humanism? Have you? Okay. That's what I'm talking about. What does it say? What does it say? Atheistic humanism.
Maharaj, humanistic philosophy or atheistic?
Atheistic humanism.
Yeah.
Belief in atheistic is that humans can achieve moral enlightenment without relying upon divine entity for
That
guidance.
means God.
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
for guidance. They hold that right and wrong are defined by one's culture, not by an overarching set of moral principles. They reject the existence of the supernatural, particularly God.
Now I'm going to tell you something that you don't know. All the teachers in public school are following atheistic humanism as the teaching method. Like, let me ask one of the kids here. Okay, young lady, right here. Then, in your school, did they talk about God? Yeah? Which school you go to? Okay, what did they say about God? He's in the sky. Is that all?
Did it teach in the school or at home? Want to say something? In your class, did they teach anything about God?
Yeah. How old are you? Hey, how old are you? So they teach you something about God in your school?
Different classes.
Okay, but did they teach you something about God in your class? What did they say? What did they say? God is in heaven or something? Okay. And your class, they talk about God? But you're both 8 years old. Are you in the same class? No.
Same grade, different class.
What?
Same grade,
Same
different
grade.
class.
Okay. Normally in the public schools, the teachers are not allowed to speak about. Do they go to public school?
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
So your teacher said something about God? What did he or he say? Yeah. It's in what?
In the cloud.
In the cloud. Okay. And that's all they said? Okay. Well, at least they said something. Let's thank him. But your brother didn't hear anything like that, did he? And he's in the eighth. You're in the same grade, right? Okay. Normally, teachers today are not in public schools, are not allowed to speak about God. They might say something, but it's not very, let's say, substantial. It's not like coming to a Hare Krishna class where we say everything about God. But actually, without knowledge of God, we'll be a failure in life. Now, why do I say that failure? Well, most people don't understand really what success is in human life. Real success of a human being is to have the knowledge and the practice by which you can free yourself from the cycle of birth and death. That's real success. Right? So that you train yourself throughout life by chanting Hare Krishna and doing coming regularly to the temple and learning Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth. So that at the moment of life you can remember the name of God, or remember God or Krishna, and go back to the spiritual world. That's the step of human life. Most people will not remember God at the moment of death. They'll remember what is most dear to them, like their 401k, like their dog, like, I don't know, their relatives. You see, the moment of death is the most important moment of life because that'll determine what happens to you next. So, if throughout life you've been practicing Krishna consciousness, easily you can remember God at the moment of death and go back to school. But if most of your time is the stock market or this thing or that thing, you're not going to be able to remember Krishna at the moment of death. And whatever you do remember will be most of the things that you did during your life. Eating, I don't know, meat or going to movies or reading all kinds of novels, or, whatever you did in your life, flash it in front of your mind very quickly. So if you did mostly things that are not related to God, then you will not be able to remember God. But if you spent most of your time in your life praying, engaging in devotional service, associating with genuine pundits, and teaching your children about God, about Krishna, taking your children regularly to the temple. Like when I was a little boy, my great auntie, every Sunday she took me to church. And I sat down with her in church and I listened to what the minister said and I learned prayers. And my mother, or my auntie, every night before I go to sleep, she taught me to say many, many different prayers. It would take me about 45 minutes to say them. I had to say all those prayers before I could go to sleep. So But she made sure that I had a lot of contact with Jesus, right? Because I didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness then. But I did know a lot about Jesus. She taught me. So it's very important to teach children, especially in their most formative years, let's say from 3 years or 2 years old until they're 18, all about Krishna. Uh, Now, as soon as you put them in a public school, anything that you taught them becomes forgotten, mostly, right? And now their mind is filled with a whole bunch of nonsense, you know, the Civil War, the this war, that war, or like in India, you learn all about Muslim invaders of India. Is that true or not? In schools, they don't teach you about heroes that were Hindus. They teach you mostly about Muslim invaders, right? And so you're not getting a real education either in the Hindi schools or in the American school. Where are you going to get that proper information about who is God and how to please God? You're only going to get it in Krishna consciousness, mostly. And there might be other places, but mainly in Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness, we're not interested in Aurangzeb. We're not interested in, all these warriors. We're more interested in Arjuna. Now, Arjuna was a warrior, right? But he only engaged in war to protect Sanatan Dharma. He did not engage in war to aggrandize land or wealth or whatever. So if you want to hear about war, you should hear about the war of Kurukshetra. Okay? And that war, it was a very terrible war. It is one of the worst wars in the history of the world. Over 650 million people died in 18 days. Now you can, although they were using arrows, those arrows were supernatural arrows. That's why they killed so many people in 18 days. So, but the idea was that Arjuna and Yudhisthira and so forth and brothers, they were fighting for Dharma, the protection of Dharma. Dharma means spiritual culture and existence. And Duryodhana, although he was a very highly educated person and he was a gentleman in many ways, but his problem was he was envious of the Pandavas. So when a person is envious, even if they have wonderful qualities like Duryodhana, Duryodhana was a highly educated person, but he was envious of the Pandavas. That enviousness canceled out all his good qualities, and he became a demon, and he was ultimately defeated by Arjuna. So we should always avoid the demons. Just like this next week, all the demons are going to come out on Halloween. The kids are going to, they're all going to put on, skeleton clothes. Or they're going to go around and say, trick or treat, trick or treat. Halloween is basically what you would call all about ghosts. Am I right or wrong? It's all about ghosts. And it's not really, what we have at the temple is called Krishnaween, where kids dress up like uh, uh, famous devotees, like Arjuna or uh, uh, Kunti Devi, like that. And they come to the temple nicely dressed as devotees. Now, the outside people, they get dressed up like demons, right? And these demons, like a skeleton or something like that. But that shows the difference of culture between Krishna consciousness and Halloween. Uh, that's why we don't call it Halloween, we call it Krishnaween. In other words, a celebration Krishna, not celebration of the ghost. So we have to teach our kids, just blindly say, okay, Halloween, let's buy some junk candy, and you look like a skeleton, and you walk around and get all that junk candy, and you get every house all that junk candy, and now you put it in a bag underneath your bed, and you'll be eating junk candy for 6 weeks or 6 months. And then you wonder, why is my kid always getting sick? Well, of course, he collected all that junk candy, and he's eating it. It might take him 6 months to eat it, and you'll have 6 months of sniffles and colds and this and that. So rather than be, let's say, blindly putting your child in a bad association, you should always put your child in good association. Therefore, at the temple, we have what's called Krishna Week, where we only distribute goodness cookies. Any of you ever had our goodness? What would you say about our goodness cookies?
They are, I mean, they're good in taste, of course, but it comes with a mantra and it really elevates your day. So I feel that way they are goodness cookie, and I used to roll cookies as well, Maharaj.
Oh, good. I didn't know that. Yeah, if you've never had one of our goodness cookies, they're free. You can go to temple and get. They're really good. We hand them out all the time. Actually, we have a food truck also that goes out, and we have goodness cookies on the food truck.
No, occasionally, but not regularly. We don't give.
You don't give it regularly.
Sankirtan we give. Yeah,
Sankirtan, yeah.
thank you.
Every Saturday.
But they're famous. I mean, when we went to Sankirtan, everyone in Seattle was asking for the
Haribo. If you've never eaten a goodness cookie, half of your life is over. And if you never chant Hare Krishna, the rest of your life is over. 100% your life. Haribo. Okay, now, are there any questions anyone would like? Because no questions, no answers. So if you ask a question, there'll be some answer, there'll be some discussion. And then as you get into the discussion, you actually feel, enlivened. Does anybody have a question? Don't be afraid to ask a question. Yes, bro.
You mentioned about the
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this young gentleman here, you're next, bro. Children before the parents. Mommy and daddy has to get you a goodness cookie at the temple. But just to give you an idea, goodness cookie is like nectar. It's very nice, not too sweet or anything like that, but it's very, very good taste. And once you eat it, you realize you become a better person because that cookie has been offered to Krishna first and offered back as his prasad. So your mommy and daddy should take you to the temple and ask, can I have a goodness cookie? And they'll give you one. Definitely. Hare Krishna. Okay, what is your question, Prabhu? Have you had goodness cookies? Yes.
We are way too many.
That's why he's smiling. Good.
I distribute on Sunday.
Oh, you distribute. Make sure he gets one this week.
Please come on Sunday, 7 p.m. Okay.
Okay.
So my question is, eating spicy food, is it bad for spiritual progress?
Well, it depends on what level of spice you're talking about. There's some spicy food you have to call the fire engine. It's so spicy, but it burns you like anything. And that's in the mode of ignorance, actually. Shouldn't eat heavily spiced food. It's not good food. I lightly spiced food is okay. Yeah. A lot of people, they go crazy. They put so much spices, hot spices, that like burns your throat. That's not good for your health. It's not good for you. We have to always stay on the side of sattva guna. Sattva guna are things that are uh, what you would call delicious, juicy, it promotes health, things like that. You eat very, very spicy food that's actually bad. But it's a sign that you're in the mode of mixed ignorance and passion when you eat very spicy food. And if you eat very heavy spicy food, you're completely in the mode of ignorance. Okay? And you'll see there are people that eat very, very spicy food, and they're easily angered. Why? Because they're eating such spicy food. So, like for example, this cow here. Does she eat the spicy food? No. She only eats grass or milk. She's still young, so she likes milk. So she's in the mode of goodness. She only eats grass. She doesn't eat meat. Right? She only eats either grass or she eats milk. And therefore, you can see her like she's not trying to run away. She's not making any noise. She's taking a nap. She's letting you pet her, hug her, kiss her. You see, because she's in a mode of goodness. You can feel it. You can see it. Why? Because she's only drinking milk or she's eating some grass. But actually, she's still too young to eat grass. She only drinks milk. It's mostly, it's mostly their mother's milk or the milk that you eat. Let's talk about milk for a second. Have any of you ever tasted our milk that we have from our farm? What would you say about it?
It's very pure, Maharaj. Like thick, creamy, full of nutrition.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yes, A2. Yes. And it's A2 ahimsa.
Ahimsa.
Right.
Next A3.
Yeah, we don't kill the cows and we don't kill the bulls. We have a sanctuary for the bulls and for the cows that are not being milked. So that we take care of them until they die naturally. All the milk you buy in the supermarket, all those cows that you get the milk from, they're going to be eventually slaughtered. And they only last about 8 years, maybe 10 years, and then they're sent to the slaughterhouse. And they're not able to make as much, produce as much milk as the farmers want to make money. So by drinking that milk, you're actually supporting cow slaughter. But you come to our temple and buy our ahimsa milk, A2 milk, we have a guarantee that we'll never kill the cow. We'll protect them, or the bulls. We'll protect them until they die naturally. So are these things important? Well, for people who are not really spiritually inclined, it's not important. For someone who's spiritually inclined, they'll be very happy to have A2 no slaughter milk. I get people who call me from, Philadelphia, Minnesota, and places like that, and they hear that we have no slaughter milk. They want us to send milk in it, but it's too complicated to do that. In fact, it might even be not permitted by the government to go over state lines to use milk. And they feel really sorry because they've heard about our milk. How many of you have ever tasted our milk? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do you think about it, Madam? What do you think about the milk?
I really have tasted that milk and it's very tasty. Meaning the first minute I have that milk, I feel
You feel what?
it's yummy.
Yummy. Okay, that's good. Anybody else? Have you tasted our milk, young boy? Good.
In India as well, they were drinking milk from Goshala. So
Also,
they've been on that kind of milk for long.
Yeah.
Here, unfortunately, you're not been frequently getting that kind of milk, but it's not good to hear this.
well, you can. We just call our devotee named Dhananjaya, and he'll bring it to you. Where do you live?
Part of in Monroe.
Oh, in Monroe.
I think we went to Navich and we were thinking of Pringles, then we use Monroe as that.
Oh, that was a mistake. They didn't. Anyway. Oh, well, here, speaking of the devil, Dhananjaya just walked in with a gallon of milk. There he is.
Speaking of a devotee.
Yeah, not speaking of the devil. Harivilas. Thank you, Dhananjaya.
So this is, shall I read these 3 verses about
Yeah.
foods in mode of goodness and passion?
Passion and ignorance.
So this is in 17th chapter in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna gives in the 8th, 9th, in the 8th, 9th, and 10th verses of 17th chapter. Krishna says, foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. So that foods in the mode of goodness, like milk, goodness to foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Then the third category, foods prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid. And foods consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness.
That's called Nyakmam. Have you ever been to a Korean store? You're missing a big experience. You can smell the store 1 block away. They have this thing called Nyakmam. Nyakmam. They kill an animal, and then they put it on a string. Right?
Mostly fish.
Huh?
Mostly
Oh, fish. Okay, fish. And then all the droppings from the fish they collect, and then they boil it, and then they put it in a bottle, and that's called Nyakmam. And they use just like you might buy ketchup, right? This is their ketchup, and they put that on all their food. And if you ever go to a
Vietnamese.
huh?
Vietnamese.
Yeah, Vietnamese store, as soon as you go in, even you don't have to even go in, you just walk by it, the smell comes out. It's a very bad smell. And when you go in the store, it's even worse, right? And it's from Nhạc Mong, right? So if you want to, have any of you ever gone into a store like that in Seattle? No, you're lucky. Yeah. So that's for people in the mode of ignorance. They eat something horrible like that. Basically, it's made by fish that they kill and then put it on like a string, and then they catch all the liquid that falls out from this dead fish, and then they boil it, and I don't know what else they do to it. And they put it in a bottle and they sell it. It's Yak Mum. Why don't you look it up? Yak Mum. I don't know how to spell it.
Yuck.
And Yak.
Yuck.
You can learn a lot of things by coming learn about Yak Mum.
I had a question as well, Maharaj.
Yes.
So Maharaj, we read and we hear that the only way we can, so-called capture Krishna is by our love for him. That's the only way we can come close to Krishna. But then Krishna already has so many He has Radharani showering her love for him. He has elevated devotees like yourself. Then how can I be any different for him to notice me?
One minute, I'm going to give you some good news right now.
Bar is very low.
Huh? What did you say?
The bar is very low. So a little bit of love, you are closer to.
No, that's not right.
No.
That's not the right answer. Although it's an answer, but it's not the right answer. The right answer is that Krishna can expand himself infinitely. So when he dances in Rasa Leela dance with the gopis, he expands himself to be with each gopi. And there's like 16 million of them. And he's dancing with all of them. Right? So he can do things that we can't do, obviously. So he can expand himself infinite. It's not that, there's only one Krishna and he can't expand himself. So how can everybody dance with him? No.
Yeah, I was looking for the Nyakmao.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
What's it say?
It's a popular Vietnamese fish sauce made from fermented fish and salt, used as a flavorful base for many dishes. It's especially common in dipping sauces, marinades, stir fry, bringing a deep, savory umami taste to Vietnamese cuisine. If you have,
That sounds good. It's not good, believe me. You would throw up. You use that in your cooking. Okay, any other question? Yes, ma'am.
So when we experience loss of the loved one, or when we feel helpless when there is somebody around us who the loved one is suffering, or when we go through our own suffering, how do you experience God at that same time and keep up that faith? And I mean, where does that come from in your lowest of lows?
Well, let's look at the example of the Pandavas and Draupadi. Draupadi was in a lot of trouble. Okay? Not from her husband, right? But at certain times she was under the control of Duryodhana, demons like that. But she never gave up her faith in Krishna. Now we can also look at, even in the Indian history, when the Muslims invaded India, there were a lot of women that were defiled, right? And also you look at things like what the Muslims did. They destroyed at least 40,000 Hindu temples. And what is that one famous temple? Somnath got destroyed, I don't know, 13, 14. And every time the Hindus rebuilt it. So that you understand, when you have faith in God, you are going to somehow or other exist even in the worst situation. You should have that faith that Krishna will protect you. I'll give you an example. My mother, when she was only 7 years old, her whole family was massacred. And she ended up an orphan in the Delaware desert. And fortunately, she was picked up by a Muslim family. She was not a Muslim. She was a Christian. But all her family was massacred. And the people who massacred her family saved her life. Right? And then she grew up for about 10 years in a Muslim family. She had a Muslim name. And then the war ended, and all the children that had been adopted because their parents had been killed were taken away from those Muslim families and put back into Christian families. Or orphans, Christian orphanages. That's the way my mother grew up, an orphan. So, in some miraculous way, even in the worst situation, she was protected. So, we should never lose faith in God. If we always have faith in Krishna, somehow or other, he's going to help you. He's going to protect you. He's going to give you, let's say, the ability to not be defeated or completely devastated in life. Because now the Supreme Personality of God is going to take a personal interest in it. But that's because you take an interest in God. If you have no interest in God, then how can you take an interest in it? So we should always chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When you chant Hare Krishna, you come immediately in the association of Krishna because you're chanting his holy name. Krishna and his name are non-different. So that's why it's highly recommended to always chant the Hare Krishna Maharaj. And you have, usually to help you do that, you have beads. It's like this. And you chant that every day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So these beads are made with sacred wood. And if you chant every day on your beads, Krishna takes a special interest in you. And if he takes a special interest in you, you have nothing to fear and nothing to worry about. In some mysterious way, he's going to protect you, he's going to give you knowledge, going to help you make the right decisions in life, and you'll have always peace in your heart because you know that you have a working relationship with God. So we should work on that relationship. Human beings thrive on relationship. And the best relationship you can have is with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna will always reciprocate with you. And you'll see, you'll feel it, you'll know. And things will happen that, like for example, let's say someone is destined to die when they're 30 years old. But if you become a devotee and become serious about chanting Hare Krishna, when you're 30 years old, you might get a big scratch on your arm, but you didn't die. Because Krishna protected you. And so we don't know what our karma is. Karma is always going to be a mixed bag of good things and bad things. But when you chant Hare Krishna, all the bad things are diminished to more insignificant hurts. And all the good things are amplified. You'll still get some reaction, but not something that is devastating. So therefore, we should take up Krishna consciousness because you don't know what your karma is. It's always going to be a mixed bag of good things and bad things. But Krishna is promising, Konteya Pratijami, Name Bhakta Pranasti, declared boldly Arjuna that my devotee will never perish. So you're going to be protected by Krishna himself. Now, who is this Krishna? He is Paramatma in your heart. Krishna is the closest person to you. He's right in your heart. He's in my heart. He's in the heart of every living entity. He's in the heart of the animals also, and the trees. He's omnipresent. Oh, good. We have these. Okay. Let's go. Who brought them?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. So this is Krishna consciousness at home. It only costs what? $1? How much did it cost you? $1.
You can take more.
$1 is actually worth $1 million. So this teaches you how to have Krishna consciousness in your home. So if you like some, you can take it today. Our purpose is to help everyone remember God. And the purpose of the demons is to help you forget God. So it's much better to remember God always. That way you'll always be protected by the mercy of the Lord. Now, you should ask me a question. Why do you bring a cow into somebody's house? Does that sound like a good question? Yeah, because is it a normal thing?
In India, in South India, they get during the Graha Pravesham,
Yeah,
they get cow in the home because it is out.
yeah. How about in America? No. So we bring a cow. This is Radhika.
Oh, yeah. Here is another beautiful book you have written.
Yes.
All the Mataji. And give it to the husband.
Yeah, powerful feminine qualities. It's very interesting. You're welcome to get it. Hardly listening. So yeah, the cow, Krishna himself was a cowherd boy. Every day he would take cows out to pasture. And he would stay with them all day long. He would play with them, he would feed them. When I say feed them, he would take them out to pasture where they could get fresh green grass. And he loved them. So if you love a cow and take care of a cow, obviously Krishna's going to take special interest in you. That's why we always bring, I always bring Radhika or Priya, she's an old cow that we bring to people's houses. So that you can see the cow, you can pet the cow, you can kiss the cow, and you suddenly realize, wait a minute, this is an exceptional thing. This is not a mean cow, this is a loving cow. See, she's in the mode of goodness. And Radhika, she only drinks milk. So that's another plus. She hardly eats any grass yet, because she's only like, what, 8 weeks old or 9 weeks old. Is that right?
She's 4 months. 4 months.
4 months. Oh, okay.
Radha is now little older. It's almost like near now.
Yeah.
We could bring him also. We could bring, but we like,
While,
huh?
while we are thinking Ramadan.
Yeah, no, he's there. He's not, he's getting bigger now. Let's put it like that. But we like, Radhika and Priya.
Priya is younger.
Yeah, Priya is very, but they're very gentle. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions, now we will go on for Damodarastakam. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare Ram. Rama Ram.
Maharaj, you want to say?
I know you.
You have to take it.
Oh, so- You know how much it costs to cuddle a cow? They have farms, not in Seattle, but outside. You can cuddle a cow. You know how much it costs? $300. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
He's cuddling a cow now. They charge you $300.
He got 3 cows.
Oh yeah, purebreds.
Who's doing the Pradanga? Pradanga? Pradanga, who can do it? Harish? Just make some noise.
Come over here.
Singing. You're singing. You're singing.
Come over here.
Prabhu, Karthik.
Yes.
Yes. Namamishwarantachitanandarupam Asakundalam gopure brajamanam Paramritamadianta Sodhyagopya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Swagatam Patri Pekaganta Vidagayam Navodayam Bhaktipadam Swagatam Patri Pekaganta Vidagayam Navodayam Bhaktipadam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Vikvalilabhe Anandakante Varojam Nivajantam Adhyapayantam Iti Vikvalilabhe Anandakante Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Varam Deva Varam Bhagavatim Gajanam Vrisheham Varejadapiha Varam Deva Varam Gajanam Vrisheham Varejadapiha Idam deva purnaka sobalavam Agame manasya sasampimanjay Idam deva purnaka sobalavam Agame manasya sasampimanjay Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Idam Shrimukam Bodham Satyabharite Rutam Kambanai Snigdharacharogya Shrimukam Bodham Satyabharite Rutam Kambanai Snigdharacharogya Vidam Nimbarasaram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Devada Rama Vishnu Pravi Prabhu Jana Dimadi So, can somebody read the translation? We can pass. Maybe you can. I can. This part is a little tight. So maybe you can.
Here, right?
Yeah.
To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose sharp-shaped earrings and swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine helm of Gokula, who due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a string. Is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but has been shot from behind by Mother who ran after him with greater speed. Declared Supreme Lord of Chidamudra, or offer my humble obeisances. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again, his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and a necklace of pearls around his neck. It is marked with three lines like a conch shell, shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Pitamudra, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
But the childhood pastimes, the this is drowning the inhabitants of Golgotha, but at the it is revealing those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge and magic and opulence, that he is only conquered by the devotees who fear, love, and youth, with this free from all conception of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer the Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. Oh Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benediction, I do not pray to you for the boon of personal liberation, life liberation, eternal life, from nor any other boon. Including an eye, but oh Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours, Bhag Gopal and Vrindavan, may everything manifest in my heart. What is the use of any other boon? Not for equal. Oh Lord.